Hello and welcome back to my channel and happy early Valentine's Day. I just love Valentine's Day. I think it's because my birthday is in February, because definitely didn't have any Valentines. But I just always loved it, and I figured this would be a great time to go ahead and talk about a nice little romance novel that I read February. It's actually the first book that I completed in February, and this is by Alyssa Cole. It's called A Princess in Theory, and it is part of the Reluctant Royals series, which is the first book that I have read by this author. And let me tell you, she got a committed person. So last year, you know, I was into Jasmine Guillory. I read The Wedding Date and The Proposal, and I was like, oh my gosh, I like romance novels. So I think this just upped it even more. Like, this came out last year, I believe. I'll have to check the dates. I'll put it on the screen. And it follows a young girl in grad school named Miletti, and she pretty much grew up in foster care and had to like work really hard for everything that she has and where she is. And she's into science, which I loved as well, that the author decided to write that. And her name's Miletti, and she's getting all these emails, like these supposedly scam emails, that she's betrothed to some prince in this African country called Teleso, and you know, his prince to be so, you know, you're his betrothed and all this other stuff. And she's like, oh my gosh, please stop writing me. So we get to be introduced to Prince Tabiso, or someone else. And he is the like privileged, silver spoon in his mouth, all that, but he is, I think, a good person. And I just love the diversity that she did with these characters, where she made them from completely different backgrounds, because of course, as Black people, we are people. We have different diverse backgrounds, just like everybody else has a diverse background. So I loved the time that she took in building these characters and giving them unique stories. And it's such a cute and sexy, kind of erotic read. Like, I feel like the story building in this was really good, because you start to get to know the characters and you're like pulled into their little romance and you're rooting for them. And then it's also like really like, whoa, because like there's a lot of passion and like just a lot of chemistry between them. And just having that build up, the writing in here, she does such a good job of like kind of, I won't say dragging it out, but kind of like building up that anticipation and all of that. Wow. And then when you read it, you're just like, you're warped into it and you're rooting for them to kind of like make it. So it's really cool. And I love that the prince himself, it shows like a Black man with privilege and stuff. Like, I feel like that's diversity. Like, even though this is a romance series, I feel like the author took great liberties in making sure she showed people from multiple different backgrounds, because there's not just like one way of, or one traditional Black story. We're so diverse. So I appreciated that in the story. Additionally, I kept thinking of Coming to America in some ways, because it almost felt like a modern version, where it was like, I don't know, because you have, again, like kind of like an African prince coming for this African American girl, and they fall in love in that sense. But then it's also like modernized, where, you know, the terminology and all this stuff is updated to current times. And also like just with the traveling and the life that he's been exposed to, and the fact that he frequents New York and stuff like that, it's just really interesting. And I really highly recommend this if you like romance novels. Just FYI, there are sex scenes in here, so if that's not for you, you can skip through those parts, but just know that that is in here. So you may not vibe with that if you don't really like sex in your books. What else? What else is to say this? Oh, the spinoff. So I'm so excited. I'm going to read the rest in the series. But there's another spinoff that came out this year, 2019, like not even a week or so probably ago. So that one is called Once Ghosted, Twice Shy. And that one sounds so interesting. I think I'm going to read that next. And it's basically like a novella from the series. So she calls it 2.5 because it's not really a full book. Like, it's a smaller version of the book. But if you've read A Princess in Theory, there's a character in there named Lokotsi who is kind of like her, Tobiso's assistant. And in the book, while they're in New York, she falls for another girl, but something happens and we don't get the story of what happens as to why they split. Well, in the spinoff, we get to find out what that was, and she's actually like back in New York and kind of like trying to tie up those strings. So that seems super interesting. Have you guys read anything from her? Let me know. Or are there any other romance novels that you guys love, that you guys think I would love? Oops. Because apparently I like romance novels now, so I would love your recommendations. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys have an amazing day and an amazing Valentine's. Love and laugh, and bye.